This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com. So Flair does a deep dive in history on a promo where he's talking about how Vince almost fired him at WrestleMania 92 at the Hoosier Dome. And the story is that Flair knew it was a big match, and even though the WWF had a no blood policy, he did it anyway, and Vince almost fired him. And Meltzer speculates with this type of promo that Heyman probably had something to do with the creative on this show. How would all of that get put together? Do you remember this, where we're sort of pulling back the curtain and talking about the wrestling business here?
I think that, you know, the whole idea behind the Vince and Flair program was kind of behind the scenes business, because you were talking about two general managers and you were talking about two people that had part ownership in the company. So to go there, I think made sense. I have no idea if Paul had anything to do with that or not.
So Meltzer has this to say. What was interesting politically is seeing Flair, who has to rescind his career in the interview, saying that all those times he said the NWA title was the real world title, that he was lying, and he always knew the WWF was the place to be. Always knew he'd gotten back for doing that promo in the final Panama Beach show, where he said WCW was always number one. This feels like splitting hairs. Of course, Ric Flair is going to say the promotion he works for right now is the number one promotion. They're the only one that survived, right?
They weren't. I think every time that Rick has ever been with anybody that was paying him, he would say that they were the number one.
Cause that's kind of what you're supposed to do. Just saying. Vince versus Flair is now set for the Royal Rumble. The card is starting to take some shape. We sort of joked about it earlier that, oh, Rick, you'll never wrestle. We just want you to do this or that, blah, blah, blah. Was Rick nervous about getting back in the ring? I only bring this up because the last time we saw him wrestle, it was against Sting at that last Nitro, what we referenced. And he wrestled in a t-shirt because he didn't feel like he was, I think the term he used is a cosmetic nightmare. And now you got to wrestle again, and it's on pay-per-view, and it's against Vince. Was he up for it?
I think he was up for it, but I do think he was nervous. And I think anytime that Rick does anything, I think Rick is nervous. Rick will make himself a nervous wreck. But at the same time, and during this time, I'm not sure that Rick had the confidence in himself.
Yeah.
And he had been through a lot at WCW and had a lot of self-doubt, but I don't think that there was any doubt in anybody else's mind. And it was just get back on the bike and go. You're fucking Ric Flair, go. And I think he was nervous, but I think that he also understood this was not Rick. You don't have to go 60 minutes to make somebody. Yeah. This is an attraction. Go be an attraction. And that eased his mind a little bit, but you know, Rick's a pro, and if you're not nervous, you're not doing it right.
Raw would end with Flair as the referee and Vince at ringside for Jericho versus Rob Van Dam for the title. Of course, Flair is probably not the best referee we ever saw, but Vince pulls Flair out of the ring when RVD has the match won, and it turns into Flair putting the figure 4 on Vince and RVD putting the figure 4 on Jericho. Meltzer would write, Jericho was tapping like crazy for RVD, but Vince wasn't tapping at all. Why was I not surprised by that? So Dave's speculating that it was intentional. At this point, did you know, like right after Vengeance, we're going to build a Flair and Vince at the Rumble? Because the way Flair tells it, when he comes into the work for the company, oh, you're not going to wrestle matches. We're not going to have you wrestling. You're just going to be an on-air commissioner, an on-air figure. And I'll be damned. He's going to be wrestling Vince at the Rumble. When did you know?
Kind of probably around this time. That was the intention for Rick to come in and Rick, you're going to be an authority figure, and that's it, man. You don't have to work, no more bumps, no more any of that. And, and then next thing you know, goddamn, it's Ric Flair. I mean, yeah. Oh, and then Vince, and just kind of fell into place, if you will. And I mean, you know, shit, you know, talking about Vince tapping and shit. Vince, again, not being a worker, he's not going to tap. He's screaming his head off, selling the fucking hold and shit. There's not a referee in there to break it. So It was fun, but yeah, I think Rick, because shit, what were we? Just a few months into this gig with Rick when it's like, yeah, you're not, well, can you have one match? It's not a real match. It's with Vince. You could do this. Fast forward a few years.
Is that a Vince idea, do you think? Or does somebody bring it to him and say, hey, you know, because at this point, Vince has had in-ring matches before. And since they're sort of feuding as co-owners, hey, what if, does somebody else present that? Or is that a Vince idea?
I think it was an overall creative idea with Vince and with everybody from the standpoint of what do you do with this rivalry?
Yeah.
And it just logically led itself there.
Also on this show, Vince is going to open it by mocking Flair and winds up busting him open with a lead pipe, and Flair gets the crimson mask. But this is where we would see Vince do the strut and put the wig on and put one of Flair's robes on. Vince was loving this shit, was he not? He's having a blast.
Yeah, because I think if Vince had been a worker back in the day, he would have been Ric Flair.
Oh, well, there you go.
Rick was just doing Vince.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.